This video was made by Thinkify. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you enjoyed the video. In our current situation amidst the coronavirus, it is hard to overlook the grasp that diseases have on our world, but less recent diseases are often neglected. Here is the history of major disease outbreaks. First, it's important to discuss what a disease outbreak is. The first and least threatening is an outbreak. Outbreaks can be defined as clusters of disease that are either isolated in one area or spread out around the epicenter. Outbreaks usually occur when a case of contagious disease is reported and one of three statements is true. Either the disease is unknown and previously unheard of, the disease is occurring again in an area but after it has been absent for a long time, or the disease has never been reported but only in a specific area. An epidemic is when an outbreak becomes more widespread than previously thought and spreads quickly in a larger area. And finally, a pandemic is when disease outbreak spreads across international and often intercontinental boundaries. This series will be focused more on epidemics, but other types of outbreaks may also be mentioned. Without further ado, Part 1 of Outbreak History, focusing on ancient disease outbreaks. Starting off in 429 BC, where the Plague of Athens ravaged the city. The Peloponnesian War, which pitted the Greek city-states of Sparta and Athens against each other, was in full swing. At the time, Athens was on the verge of winning, and victory was a probable feat for the Athenians, but at the same time, disease was on the horizon. At the nearby harbor of Piraeus, an incoming ship was carrying the catalyst for a great plague, whose identity was either typhus, typhoid, or some type of viral hemorrhagic fever. The spread of the disease was uncontrolled, as sanitary conditions were horrible in Athens. Living quarters were tight, resources were limited, and hygiene was poor. The combination of these factors was responsible for the 100,000 person death toll caused by the Plague of Athens, and this outbreak is widely regarded as the first in recorded human history. Approximately 300 years later, the Roman Empire was also hit by a plague. The Antonine Plague, as it was known, first appeared in 165 CE. It is believed that it originated in Central Asia and spread to eastern Han China and later Rome. From Central Asia, either through trade, travel, or diplomacy, the disease landed up in Seleucia, a city on the Tigris River across from Ctesiphon. During a Roman siege of the area, several soldiers contracted the disease, which is now theorized to be smallpox, and returned to Rome. Several legions in Gaul, Germania, Italia, and Asia Minor succumbed to the disease soon after. The identification of the disease's origin hindered trade with the East. Records indicate stagnation in Roman trade with Southeast Asia, India, and China. The disease outbreak caused a total of anywhere from 5 to 10 million deaths, making it the deadliest outbreak in history at the time. The final outbreak for this video is the Plague of Justinian, an outbreak caused by the same bacterium of the Black Death, Yersinia pestis. The disease likely started in the Tian Shan mountain range, located between Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, and China, around 542 CE. It was mainly responsible for affecting the Byzantine Empire. The disease likely spread through the Sasanian Empire, traveled across Byzantine borders into Egypt, and infected rats and civilians there. These rats are responsible for stowing away on Constantinople-bound grain ships and causing horrific mortality rates. The disease would cause necrosis of the limbs and eventually kill its host. The disease caused nearly 5,000 deaths a day in Constantinople and eliminated a quarter of the Mediterranean population at the time. As of right now, the Mediterranean population is estimated to be about 500 million. To achieve a similar death percentage as the Plague of Justinian would be to eradicate the metropolitan areas of Cairo, Istanbul, Alexandria, Naples, Rome, Athens, Madrid, Algiers, Barcelona, Lyon, Milan, and Guangzhou. To conclude this segment of our video series, diseases are no joke, destroying entire societies in just days. And the worst part is that no one ever sees them coming. I'll see you next time. Until then, Thinkify signing out.